If you run a business, however big or small, and sometimes wonder whether you're doing things the hard way or the right way, then you're in the right place. We are two blokes, two ordinary blokes, and this is our journey to a million. Hi, John. How are you?
Good morning, Martin. Yes, I'm well, fine and dandy for a Wednesday morning.
Your interactive board has actually moved to your head by the looks of things.
I told you that.
This is the problem with the sun moving around the earth, isn't it? Or the earth moving around the sun, sorry.
I don't know what time the interactive wall's going to be coming out. The sun is up. The sun is shining.
Can I just check? Is it the sun moving around the earth, or is it the earth moving around the sun?
I've no idea, but let's not talk about the moon, because I'm sure the moon biorhythms have been affecting me again this month, and it's the manifestation month. I was listening on the radio. We should all, as everybody, be manifesting positive thoughts about our future. So do you do that, Martin?
I think positively about the future. I'm not sure that I manifest, but I definitely have pictures in my mind of where we're going, business wise, and I do try it personally as well. Although Slim Martin is yet to be actually here, which I'm a bit disappointed with myself with, really.
Well, let's not talk about weight loss and manifestation then, because I've put a few pounds back on.
All I do is I blame it on the business, right?
And that wasn't manifested. Well, actually, it was. I should manifest myself to stop putting the weight on. That's what I should do.
Well, this is what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to do, but it's not kind of working. And it's maybe I've got this theory that maybe we put more effort into our businesses than we do into ourselves, which is not really a great thing, is it?
So what you're talking about there, Martin, is work-life balance. Have you cracked it?
Well, I think it's a tricky one. I think that there's the saying, isn't there? If you enjoy what you do, then you'll never work a day in your life. And I think there's an element to that. I think if you do enjoy what you do, then you know what's the harm in putting your all into it. I think the difficulty comes when that action affects those close to you, and I think that's the difficulty. And also wearing yourself out. You know, there are occasions, John, I know you'll find it hard to believe, when I get stressed, and I think, you know, I do love a Sunday where I've got nothing to do and I can just sit and be, you know, that's a great recharge for me. But I think about it, I also think that there's different balances for different stages of your life as well. You know, having gone through starting a business, having kids, the kids growing up, some of them leaving home, you know, I think I see it as a bit of, you know, those graphic equalizers you used to get on stereos and stuff, and there used to be the different frequencies and you'd see them going up and down. I think, you know, when you've got wife, kids, young kids especially, business, you know, holidays, all those sorts of things, they all take what's the word I'm looking for? They all have an impact on your life. And I think at some points, so the kids might be high on the graphic equalizer at that time, but then as they sort of start to get older, then maybe, you know, that comes down and maybe work goes up a bit. I don't know. That's how I see it. How about yourself?
Oh, I think this is one that I probably beat myself up a lot, because I look at people around me and they all look so calm and they all look like they're doing great things. And then I think of myself, and I quite often feel that I've got it wrong. And a lot of it depends on cash flow. I think cash flow's always a big sort of mental sort of time consumer, energy sucker. But I think going back to that sort of point, I mean, like, we've just had a bank holiday weekend, and actually it was great. I did some stuff on the Friday, I did some different stuff on the Saturday. Case and I went away on the Sunday, and we had a lovely time. But on the Monday, I felt quite down, actually, and I didn't want to look at the inbox because I knew if I looked at the inbox, I'd end up doing some work, and I didn't want to do some work because part of this journey we're on is about freeing up some time. But I think also,
And did you look at the inbox?
I didn't, but I got up
Well
at
done.
5. I got up at 5 o'clock the next morning to sort of look at it rather than sort of 6 o'clock. But that was the little trade-off in my head. So I don't know whether that's work-life balance or not. But having returned from sort of Cornwall 4 weeks ago, we're off next week to Croatia for a week sailing. So is that work-life balance? Is that part of the trade-off that you make? I don't know, but I know when I go away, I'll have a great time and the team will do exactly the same as what they did the last time I was away. And that contributes to a work-life balance. I think some of it is my own desire not to let family down. And as a small business, they are your family, aren't they? And yeah, does that make sense?
Well, I think, yeah, definitely. And I think that you used a good sort of phrase there, the trade-off. And I think that's, have you heard the choose your hard kind of analogy, which is, being overweight is hard, going to the gym is hard, choose your hard. It's what choices nothing's going to be easy in life, so you've just got to make the choice as to which way you're going to go. And I think the trade-off is great. I mean, the one thing you mustn't do, John, and I do it as well, is compare yourself to others, like looking very calm. That's not the case. It's tough. It's tough. Running any business is tough. It is. And the sleepless nights, the solving problems constantly, the being the last one that that has to make decisions. And I think that's the process you're going through. Is like not being the end decision maker. Because once you stop being that end decision maker, that's when you can wean yourself out of the business.
Yeah, and to do that, you've got to grow, haven't you? You've got to get through. You've got to get through the messy middle, and we're still seeing our way through that messy middle, albeit we're on, hopefully, the downhill slope to the freedom, to the finish line. Well, freedom is the next stage, isn't it?
Yeah, but, I mean, the messy middle is going to go on, isn't it? It's not a finite, as we discussed before. It's what is it? Cycling through treacle. That's what it's like sometimes. But actually, the treacle thins out as you get towards the end, and but you still have it. It's still cycling through it.
Yeah.
Great with my analogies this morning, aren't I?
I'll tell you, you're making me feel like I need to order some more books on Amazon, but I haven't read the last ones yet. So I'm taking them on the holidays as well.
Oh dear. So, what else have you been up to?
What else have I been up to? Well, I've done a lot of work on the tools lately. Some of that's because we've been a man down, although we have done a what we think is a successful hire. So welcome to Adam to our team. That's that induction. That's all rapid fire. So actually, you feel a bit guilty about that while you're letting them down because we don't have a stock of uniform. So that's all been started. He was able to start straight away, which was interesting. So you feel like you've done a lot of your induction sort of process, but not completed it properly. But it's working out well, and he's enjoying himself, and he's smiling, and we're back to. At the moment, our pressure point is actually following up on all the inquiries. Sometimes they don't feel like they're coming in, and then all of a sudden you look and you go, "Blimey, I've done 12 today," but they don't. Excuse me. It doesn't seem so intense. So I think I've still got my cough, Martin. That's another thing that's I think dragging me down a little bit over the last few weeks. I can't seem to shake that one off. So yeah.
You're definitely sounding better.
Thank you.
Really good. Right. So, okay. So, you're getting a lot of inquiries in, and you're converting, or?
Yeah, we're. Excuse me. We are, but I think where I'm feeling it at the moment is that we haven't been able to follow them up personally as quick as we probably would like to, because of the volume, and that's an area of the
Right.
business that we've identified that we need some more help in, basically. So
Ah,
yeah,
well, that's quite
so
interesting
that's a
because
painful bit of growth, isn't it? That you know, I think we've reached the level that we can reasonably do, and now we got to look at that as our next port of call.
so do you use WhatsApp in your business, John?
We do.
Right, okay. And do you follow up via WhatsApp?
Oh no, we don't use it as a channel. No.
Right. Okay. So you just use it as people for a way for people to contact you for an inquiry.
Yes, yeah.
Right.
Go on,
Okay.
give us a clue, Martin, because I feel
Well, no. I mean, I don't use it at all.
right.
So, but I have seen it before, and I've seen it sort of getting better. But I went to AdCon last week in Wembley, and which was an advertising sort of exhibition, and one of the speakers there and one of the sponsors was a guy who sets up WhatsApp for you in your business as a lead gen tool, but also really interestingly, the systems that set up chase and follow those leads automatically. So so if someone inquires, as soon as you get their telephone number, you WhatsApp them, sends them a message, and you can send them personalized videos. You can send them all sorts of messaging, get them to respond, sort of take them through a quiz about, what kind of inquiry it is. So I don't know if it's I don't know if it's a boutique, say, that's looking for new customers. It could be, are you looking for ladies' clothing or shoes or accessories, and then it can sort of take them through and then push them in the right direction. But it was a really neat and very quick way of following up on leads. Quite pricey to go with the guy that was there at the conference, but I'm sure that that can be developed. So I thought that was really quite cool and effective.
So when you say pricey, what is pricey in Martin's world?
Well, I think he had two options. One was we guide you and you do all the donkey work in terms of setting it up, which was 4 figures plus VAT. And then if you wanted them to do the whole shebang, then it was 5 figures. So you're looking, I think it was 6 and 10.
So being a bit cynical, what's going to stop you doing that in AI?
Nothing. If you know what you're doing, then you can do it. I mean, that's the interesting thing, right? You can do it. You can have a go. But I mean, this guy is practiced, and the thing with any of these things, he's got shortcuts because he's done it and been
He's
there.
done it, yeah.
So he knows the shortfalls, he knows the shortcomings. What he'll do is pinpoint how best to put you on the map with WhatsApp. And the other interesting thing he said about WhatsApp was that in about 18 months, these things have life cycles, right? So things come and go in business. Normally there's a 3-year-ish, from inception through to sort of drift off. But he reckons that's going to be elongated a little bit by the fact that WhatsApp in about 18 months is going to start advertising. So there's going to be advertising channels on WhatsApp. And then he reckons there might be like a 3-year slowdown after that. So you're looking at about 4.5 years lifetime on that. But that was quite interesting, even in itself.
Doesn't the advertising bit, I mean, the one thing that's nice about WhatsApp at the moment, say for me personally, is that I can look at WhatsApp and not get distracted by the adverts like you do in Facebook and other sort of stuff. And actually, I quite like that because I can concentrate on the people that's sending me a message. Whereas on the other sort of stuff, I get distracted, and I just wonder that. Yeah, that's me personally speaking, but yeah,
I think the proof of the pudding's in the eating, John, and I think there's enough evidence there to suggest that this is a good way of doing it. And actually, when he made his presentation online, he put a QR code up on the screen, which you could then, obviously, that took you through to a website. You put your telephone number in, WhatsApp comes up immediately, tells you to send a pre-populated note, which was AdCon, which was the advertising conference. You send that off, and then you get a load of information come through, and you can start interacting. And it was as easy as that. So it's like, and that and the thing is, that happens at 1 o'clock in the morning when you're fast asleep.
Yeah, I know, and that's I'm not saying for the listener. We got many more listeners now, Martin. We're still on the
I don't
plural.
know. I think we've put them all off. I think they've gone. It's just me and you, John.
For the listener, then don't back John's horse on advertising channels, because it may not be your best move. But yeah, no, I can see how it's gonna work, and I think it will be really good. And that means there'll be another sort of WhatsApp that's coming out that people might want to have as a clutter-free sort of communication tool, doesn't it? And it's identifying that. Or actually, Martin, we could write it.
We can. Well, with the event of AI, yeah. I mean, anything's possible. But I think the purpose for me around this is it's definitely, I can definitely see that it's getting harder to get good quality leads, and therefore it's getting more expensive. So you're going to have to work harder. People's expectations are higher, so people call or email and they expect responses fairly quickly, because other companies are doing it. There's no reason that you shouldn't be able to, is kind of like the thinking. So actually you have to go with it, or you're going to get lost.
Yeah, and I think that's what we've found. I think we mentioned these guys a lot, but Jim Hewlett from Lawn Tech, he was saying with his online sort of measuring tool, it increased the number of quotes we got massively, but actually it also increased the waste of time, or the quotes that never came to anything, massively. And I think sometimes that's what we're struggling on, is the identification of which of the quotes to follow up, really. And some of that comes from a telephone call, doesn't it? And one of the things that we're looking at in our business at the moment is this, not the simplification, but the consistency of how we follow those quotations up. And actually, can we automate that a little bit more? Certainly with the people that, don't come back to you. You ring once, you ring twice, but don't actually never ever come back.
Yeah.
So I think that's where that's part of the process we're going through as a business process at the moment.
Right. Okay.
So AdCon was good, was it? Tell us, give us a brief thing about AdCon then, because you invested. I know you invested a lot of time in that. But does the listener?
Right. So this is me investing in myself, right? So this is supposed to be cutting edge marketing, what's going on in the world. And there was a lot of useful stuff. So it's things like stuff that we probably know already. So if you need to be an authority in your space, then you need to have, if you're an author, that's going to help you. So there's book deals and sales that you can get involved in. You need to generate leads, so there's a lot of information about how you do that. Speaking confidently in your industry. So there's a talk on how you make your signatory speech, and there's part of me that's a bit cynical about it. There's a lot of business coaches at this event, and there's a lot of interesting ways in which you sell the service of business coaching. and how you advertise that online and how you draw in leads, which is quite different to many other businesses because it's high ticket. So you could be talking about a £10,000 outlay. And there's a recognised way of doing this, and this is all spoken about quite openly and clearly, and people adopt this coaching so that they can then do the same thing with their customers. So there's a bit of kind of, for want of a better expression, a bit of incestuous merry-go-round with a lot of people there. So for example, the people selling book deals, signatory speeches will have been on the coaching courses, and the people who are selling the coaching courses will have been on the book and signatory speeching. You know, it's this kind of like world that is wrapped up, and it's big bucks as well. So you're talking about a lot of money. I mean, while we were there, I think the people who are putting the conference on signed up 26 people onto their coaching course, and their coaching course was, I think it was something like £12,000. So, you know, it's not, they've just in one day signed up £250,000 worth of work.
Yeah.
So, you know, but great experience. Would do it again. Just because you get, there were some great speakers. Rory Sutherland, who I've talked about before, he was up there. Fern Cotton, she was there. There was the woman who used to do all the social media for Stephen Bartlett's podcast. She was interviewed. That was quite interesting. Obviously, with what we do here, yeah, they were quite fanatical about their podcast, which is probably why they were very successful and why we are not.
Yet.
Good word, John. Good word.
Positive manifestation.
Absolutely.
Thinking positive. Glass half full, you see. That's me.
Yes.
It's not half empty, it's half full.
Yes. I like the fact that the interactive board is on your forehead this morning, John.
Well, you wait until June.
Your right eye will be highlighted rather than your left. Oh, dear. Sorry, I shouldn't make you laugh with your coughing.
It was good then. It was well, it's good to invest in yourself, isn't it? Because I think so often as business leaders, we probably don't do that. We should do that more. And
I think it's really good because you just open your eyes up. It's having a new experience. It's meeting different people. I think probably that was my only regret, is that because I went with a couple of colleagues, that I probably didn't interact with others as much as I could have. But that was a bit sort of in my comfort zone, I guess. But yeah, really good, because there were the speakers on. You would have loved it, John. There were speakers on AI, which was really interesting, and answering services, and selling answering services as an AI, which again helps with your lead gen, because it's, you know, you don't miss a call.
Well, that is one of our next projects. We do actually use an answering service, but they're getting more and more expensive. And that is one of our next projects. It's on the list.
Yeah.
It's on the list. And I think AI could actually do quite a very good job. Not quite. I think AI could actually help us do a very good job in that. It depends on how far you want to take them down that funnel, really. So, but yeah, it's definitely on our list.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good way of organising phone calls into the business, distributing them, and also just knocking off the low-hanging fruit. And
did it affect your opinion of sort of using that as a service?
I don't know what my opinion is, John, really, on using it as a service. I think there are certain things in my business that I definitely think that AI could reduce the amount of time and friction it takes us to do.
Mm.
And whenever I mention AI around Heather, there is a roll of the eyes and an immediate barrier goes up. And I think that's Heather doesn't want to jeopardize people at the expense of AI. And I think sometimes she thinks that I do. However, I don't. I want AI to create time for the people we have to be able to do other more beneficial stuff, and take away a lot of the time consuming and often less interesting parts of the work.
Yes.
What does yes mean?
What does yes mean? I agree. I think I think we could be exploring how we use AI a lot, and I think what AI cannot replace is the physical bit that we do on the lawn. It can get people down a funnel, but it's it can add time. So yes. So
I'm thinking about it in our industry.
I'm being a bit cagey there, Martin. I'm sorry, but I'll
all will become clear in next year's podcast when you tell us how successful your new AI answering service has been.
We were talking about Series 2, weren't we? So when does Series 1 end and Series 2 start?
Not soon enough for a lot of people.
It's like Netflix, isn't it? You know, the next adventures of John and Martin. Our Road to a Million.
No,
AI.
John, no. It's
sure?
not like Netflix. Netflix has got something like 215 million subscribers. We got about 40.
Well, maybe
not million.
Maybe we'll have to save that for another podcast day then. Yes, but
yeah.
No, I am very excited by AI and how it can help us, and I think what we've talked about today with your WhatsApp is and how people just want to interact at 5 o'clock in the morning or 10 o'clock at night and actually get some sort of feeling that they've had a response. I think has got to be good, really, hasn't it? And that's we don't work in the same world that our parents grew up in. It's changed, hasn't it? How we do businesses has changed immensely.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times do you have the conversation where, you know, I think people automatically assume because it's their garden, you're going to go out and have a look at their lawn or their plumbing or whatever it is related to their business. But actually, you know, what they really want is a price, first of all, isn't it? They want a price and some advice. Well, you can give them that advice pretty much over the phone.
As long as you know what the problems are, and with the event of video and photos and emails and WhatsApp, and you know, there's no reason why you shouldn't see those. I mean, and then the advice accordingly. And I think that's the bit. So for me, I'm looking at AI in terms of the most frequently asked questions, and also aftercare service. So if someone's had some service from us and then has a question regarding that service, I want that being dealt with ideally before or at the point of the service. But if for whatever reason it slips through the net, I want it caught by AI afterwards so that we're not spending our time continually repeating ourselves. But also, I guess that the AI part of that is the fact that things change. So, for example, again, with our industry, the weather plays a big part in what's going on. So, you know, I have no doubt in my mind that in the coming weeks, we're going to have the phone's going to be ringing off about seed not germinating. And when we ask the question about how much have you been watering, the client's going to be saying, well, I've been watering every day. And then we're going to say, well, how long for? And then they're going to say, well, for 5 minutes. And we're going to say, well, that's not long enough. And is the soil damp underneath? And, you know, all those kind of things. And the temperatures having an effect on germination at the moment because the nighttime temperatures aren't up, and you know, all that sort of stuff that takes time out of the business can be dealt with AI, I believe. But I think it's really important that we acknowledge that whatever system we use, we are quite upfront with it and say, like, you know, this is an AI bot here to help you.
Yeah.
What's your question, kind of thing, rather than trying to pass them off as a human. I think that's a really big mistake.
And did what came out of AdCon then last week on that was how how soon do you identify yourself as being an AI agent rather than by being a person?
Immediately, I think. I don't think I need to go to a conference to know that. I think that's just human. I think you say immediately.
Did they have any? Did they have any comments on that?
I think it was a good thing to do. Yeah, that was the overall opinion. It's like don't try and pass it, because if you get caught out, you just look stupid. And I you know, this is a tool that we're using. You know, in the same way as a mechanic might use a spanner. It's not. But you have to be open and honest about it.
Yeah. Okay. And that's why it sort of went to a little bit of a back burner with us, because we weren't too sure on how to handle that and the transparency. But I think we've we decided that we'd stick with what we'd got. But actually, another 6 months down the line, A, we've learned a lot more. B, we've become more confident. And C, I think we now know that other people are doing it, and that we would do the same. If we used it as an answering service, that would be one of the first things that would be announced. You know, we are, you know, working on behalf of, can we do this? And not actually take them down a message where they try and do the selling, but actually just record the information. And you know, it's like last night, you know, we did a number of quotes and our answering service picked these calls up, but one person didn't leave the email, which really frustrates me, because, you know, your system then blocks and you got to change it. But if that was taken by an AI rather than by our answering service, we could actually program it to say, it's really important to leave us an email because it's not going to be shared with anybody, blah, blah, blah. And this is what we want it for. And actually, that's a load more added value the AI could give us rather than the answering service.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Yeah. Thank you, Martin. I'll take that. I haven't taken many things, but I'm going to take that one.
Well, I'll be interested when you start opening up about your AI service that you're clearly investing in. When then I'll, you know, when you share that with the listeners, rather than being cagey.
Cagey.
Yes, John. Right. Okay. So there was another point I wanted to make today. Right. I think completely different subject, price. But I know we've gone through price a lot in the past, but I think it's quite relevant today, and it's a point I wanted to make about especially young businesses when they are putting their prices together, and often.
Martin, could I stop you there? Could you frame this? Are you talking out of guilt, or is it a question that people have asked, or is it reflection that you're thinking we haven't given the right information? Because
it's probably the latter.
Right. Okay. Good.
No, not the right information, but just haven't included it in previous podcasts. And I think it's really important because it's not often thought about. There are many things that you think about when putting price together, and more often than not is like, you know, I need to price it high enough to make money, but low enough to get the job. I need to look at my competition. I need to look at you know, my costs, and I think often. Especially when you're starting out, you tend to price as a one-man band. I think that's a mistake. And from the off, I think you should start to price like a business, because if you want to be a business, you have to price like one. And it never ceases to amaze me the amount of. I was looking through my kind of spreadsheets yesterday, and that's what prompted this. And it's the costs that you don't think about, the IT costs, the HR costs, not just the software, but the backup, the advice, the time that's taken, filming, getting someone in to film stuff that you're doing in the business. You know, all the activities that a larger business undertakes have to be paid for. So that ultimately comes out of your profit. And if you're not making enough profit, if you're only paying the mortgage and the food bill with the profit, then you're not going to have anything left over for the video budget, the HR budget, the IT budget. So when you're pricing, take that into consideration, and you'll be surprised about how many people don't buy on price. So don't be afraid to put your prices up.
I think people buy off people they like, companies they like, companies that deliver what they say they're going to deliver. That's why our Trustis reviews, I think, are so important for us, because they're words that people use themselves rather than words that have been generated by us, and they're real. And I agree, actually. I think that's some great advice. Why you didn't give that to me 15 years ago, Martin? We're going to have a serious chat the next time we meet up.
Well, I'll be saying that in 15 years about your AI answering service, won't I? Like, John, come on, fess up.
Because I think that is, as you start to scale, one of the problems of scaling is to actually be confident on your price. And interestingly, whilst I won't use the word doom scrolling because that's negative, isn't it? And I want to be positive. I'm now positive, John. Whilst I was browsing the internet last night, at whatever sort of silly time it was, something came up about price, and I reflected on that, and I thought, that's us. Because actually, we put our prices up this year, and then we put them up another 10% to new customers. And it was talking about, and I was thinking, I worry about the gap between the existing customers and the new customers. And they started talking about grandfather pricing, and I don't know whether that is the right terminology for it, but it made sense, because it meant that I don't have to think about all of my existing customers as being 10% behind my current price chart. Actually, it can make me think about those in a completely different way when I'm looking at price reviews at the end of this year. So I think price and pricing sensibly is exactly spot on, Martin. That's a really good point. And I think probably, we did a lot of that a few years ago because we had to, because we was taking on more staff. That staff is now doing what you're telling me it does. It generates the ability to do more work, and we're seeing that in April. We're in May now. We're going to see it all the way through May. Which we've never experienced before, but that's come from by being brave and actually doing those people. But you've probably gone through some of this journey, but for me, it's now committing more money to more people, that you've got to do that in advance to be able to cope with the capacity, a bit like what we're talking about now. The weakness we've got at the moment is I need more office staff, but we are a seasonal business. And then what do those office staff do in the winter? I don't know.
Another thing that your price has to take into account.
Yeah.
The times when people are less efficient. I just want to explain what grandfather pricing is. As you mentioned it, John, I've just Googled it quickly.
Have you?
It's a strategy where existing customers continue paying a lower original rate for products or services after a price increase, while new customers pay higher updated rates. Okay. So, just for anyone who was wondering. I think it's imperative that you keep abreast of those things, because it's a slippery slope backwards otherwise.
Yeah. Excuse me.
Well,
right. So, what does your week hold then, Martin? I'm out doing some treatments today, and we're on our budget buster treatments tomorrow with my lovely wife Kate. She's showed me how to use a scarifier. So.
Oh my God!
Well, actually,
a recipe for disaster if ever there was one.
Apparently, my raking up has improved immensely. So,
with your renewed vigor. Well, I think I'm meeting with our marketing guy today, further to our conference last week, and what else am I doing? I've got a few other meetings. and then Friday I'm out finishing a turfing job, so I'm on the tools as well. So we'll get that finished off. But other than that, it's sort of getting back into things after a few days away last week, and getting my head around things again. So looking at all the reports and stuff,
Yeah.
and finding the picture.
There we are. Yeah. Oh, excuse me.
Rather than coughing, John, do you wanna take us out?
Take us like Arnie Schwarzenegger, whatever.
Not sure I understand that reference, but
no, I don't. I don't know either. So, okay, so yeah, I don't know what we're going to talk about in the next episode. We got any ideas, Martin? I know that's what do I need to think about? Because sometimes there's something wrong with my internet. The memos don't come through as much as they used to. I just don't know what it is.
I think if anyone does have a question, questions at twoblokes.co.uk, or you can text us if you know our numbers. We're not giving them out. But yeah, no, it'd be we'd be happy to talk about any subject. But if not, John, I think there's I'm sure we'll rustle up something for next time.
Well, all we're doing is we're letting more people into our conversation. So this is what we normally sort of chat about each
Normally,
week.
you would tell me what AI service you're buying.
Okay, so as you know,
moving swiftly on.
Martin and I will continue to have our conversations. As you know, now we talk about mistakes, ideas, growth and pressure and planning. And that's what the podcast was about. But the key reassurances are we're not experts. We're not preaching. We're just giving honest reflection and thoughts about what's affecting our minds today as small, independent businesses. So if the podcast has been useful, feel free to follow and share it with someone who might benefit. And as Martin says, if there's a question you're wrestling with, send it in, and who knows, we may explore it for a future episode. So on behalf of Martin and myself, thank you very much.